Du, du.
Oh,
What's going on,
the masked
Peter?
bandit, the masked bandit.
We'll take it off, you know.
You got a crease one? What do you got going
No,
there?
we don't, but they're coming actually. They're coming.
Your colors will look really good, actually.
Yeah, I got it. I got it coming, buddy. It's in the loop, man. So
Hey, are you? What's the process? Do you put those in the what? What do you do?
I told you, buddy. I got a whole whack of them, but we need them to be at the rink right now.
But
So,
goalies don't, though, right? Goalies don't have to.
At Ice Sports Etobicoke, we have to wear them in the facility.
Okay.
And then the goalies, like they get dressed 20 minutes before they come on the ice, and then they have to wear them all the way until they get on the ice, and then they got to put them right back on after.
No way. No way. Are they getting dressed in the? Were they getting dressed in the when you come in the foyer?
Some are in the parking lot, and then a lot of them are getting dressed just beside the arena. Just so they set up ones beside the arena, and then once they get dressed, then they clean up that area and so forth. It's, to be honest,
how hard is that, eh? As a tender, I can even see as a hockey player, it's one thing, eh? But as a tender, that must be like so hard.
Oh yeah, it's tough. It's tough. And now Boo and I, we got to help the kids get dressed and get them all ready before the little guys, anyways, right?
Yeah.
So, but it's all right. It's nice to get back on the ice.
Oh, I'm sure. How's Boo doing?
Boo's good. He's right here. Look at this.
Oh, bring him in.
Hold on. We need a wide screen though. Hold on.
Oh, there he is. There's my man.
Yeah. How's it
I was
going?
cracking up, boys, when that whatever school, I liked it when you guys got signed. What's that one school?
Yeah, that's king.
Hey, you guys, I was laughing. One day it was Davey, the next day it was Boo. I'm like, the boys got signed. I was cracking up. It was
That's
awesome.
right,
How you doing, buddy? How are you?
Good. How you doing?
I'm doing good, buddy. How are the kids?
Yeah, they're doing well.
Yeah.
Still playing. 3 boys in AAA. Minor midget, Bantam, and
But-
Pee-wee.
Is that your oldest and minor midget?
Yes, he's a goalie. Yeah.
When did he grow up? Wasn't he like 5 years old, like a couple
I
years
know.
ago?
I know. The years have just passed.
Is he playing goal?
Yeah. He's an 05 AAA
Wow.
goalie for Barry. Yeah. They all play for Barry.
Are all the boys tenders, or are they going?
No, just the oldest is a goalie, and the other 2 are players.
just the one. Does he have your style? What's going on?
I think so. A little bit of old school. He's a little bigger than me, which is good.
So what is he? 5'6"?
Well, it's only
I'm
comedian.
joking, man. I'm joking. You're taller than I am. I should be kidding with you. You're tall. I look up to you, buddy. I don't know. Awesome, man. Awesome. Good to hear it. I got to come down. Once you guys are a little, I know it's crazy busy for you guys, but once things get a little bit more normal, I'd love to come down. See you, boys.
Yeah, for sure. Anytime, buddy.
Awesome.
It's welcome.
Yeah. But thanks for jumping on, buddy.
No problem.
Should we get things started?
Sure. Let's get her going, buddy.
Is Boo gonna hang around?
Yeah, Boo's here. Well, we're in the Crease office
Okay.
right now because we got to go on the ice at 2:15. So we got at least a good half hour, 40 minutes with you.
And that's how much we usually take.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Regardless
perfect.
of our time. If Boo's gonna hang around, if there are questions, since he's there, it wouldn't be.
Yeah.
It'd be
I can
awesome if people ask questions. Ask him.
I can jump in a few times. Yeah.
Yeah, he's
Awesome.
here. He's right beside me. We don't want to get too close together. So
I gotta keep
hot
things
here,
6 feet apart from each other.
That's right, buddy.
Hey, why don't we get started? Davey, thanks for joining us. So we have our Thursday afternoon mental skills Thursday for Headset Sports. I'm so happy to have a good friend of mine too. I haven't seen him for a while, face to face, but through email we've been chatting. Have Dave Dolecki here. Been in hockey for I don't know how many years in regards to playing, but in regards to the on ice and off ice and structure for goalies in hockey, but over 20 years, around 22 years.
Yeah.
Operator of the Crease.
That's
in
right,
the Toronto
buddy.
area. So I don't know who's outside of Toronto and knows the Crease or not, because we don't know where people are coming from. But for one of the businesses in hockey is called the Crease. It's on ice and off ice instruction for goalies of all ages, but it goes all the way to the highest levels, all the way to pro. And I guess recently, but you've been in the works, right, in regards to the Just Shoot It facility?
Yeah. I've actually had it now for 5 years in Oakville.
5 years. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was gonna say just a couple. It's been 5 years in Oakville, a little outside Toronto. For those aren't in the area, can you just, even for myself, Davey, explain to me the Just Shoot It piece?
Yeah. So my business, I have several businesses, but my goalie school, the Crease Goaltending Academy, I've been in ice sports at Etobicoke for 20 years, and inside the facility, I use the main ice, but I also have a training rink, so it's a small pad on real ice, and then we also have a room that we do, it's like a lab, we call it. So we do our Sense Arena, which is our virtual reality stuff on there. We do stick fittings. We sell hockey shop products, so it's like basically a retail hockey store. And then we grew a lot, and we needed another spot, so we opened up in Oakville. And in Oakville, we started in there. It was Just Shoot It, and I have a partner, Clint Owen, there. And we basically it's a real life studio. And then a year ago, actually, we actually made it a full hockey training center. Synthetic ice, shooting lanes, VR, goalie lessons. So it's a one-stop shop for a hockey player.
Awesome. And that VR part, I want to come back to that. So we'll talk about towards the end headset. We'll talk about the VR because
for sure,
for our off camera and off of the phone conversations, we've talked about the mental skills, you and I, for decades. You and I, especially in regards to the goaltending. We'll spend a little bit more goaltending time together. Yeah, I think just the goalies that are on, but we can expand it outside of hockey too. So we're just going to talk about mental skills, return to play. But at the end, I wanna touch on the virtual reality piece that you have for players and goalies, and then we'll talk about the headset part as well.
Awesome, buddy.
Yeah, buddy. I know before people came on, we were talking a little bit about the return to play. Can you kind of talk to people in regards to the return to play piece?
Yeah. So our business in Oakville, we were able to get back on May 19th. And then, so we started in there and we've been jammed ever since there, because we were really the only one in town. But it was all one-on-one lessons, and my business is really one-on-one. So it was great. And then, Ice Sports Etobicoke, we just got in here now. This is our first full week back on the ice. And like I said, the most we can have on the ice pad at one time is 10 participants. Okay. So it's myself and Boo. We got 6 goalies and a couple shooters. And it's a little bit different, but it's working great. And it's just nice to be back on the ice. And the kids are excited. And Ice Sports is going like all out, making it safe, which is great. And, they're, from filling a form before you get to the rink, to checking everyone's, get hand sanitizer when you get in there, mask, etc. There's someone cleaning. My bag's never been so clean, Pops. It's been clean like every day now. I come in and it's so it's been great, buddy.
You're like, smells good in here.
Yeah, it's been awesome, man. So things have been good, man.
That's good. How, in regards to I know the players were extremely excited to come back, and I'm sure just being off the ice for a few months. What, any challenges for you guys other than I guess the safety pieces are so important, and another step? Are there any other challenges that you, and you mentioned Bujar, Boo's here too. He's goaltending instructor, pro hockey player. So we got a couple of you in there, and then Clint is one of your partners. We got a lot of high level instructors that we're talking about. What we'll be talking about.
Well, the biggest thing I think though right now is we're still in COVID-19, right? And the number one thing is to keep everybody safe, right? So I think as a goalie, it's a little bit easier. We can do things, more than 6 feet apart. So I think that's something that, it benefits us goalies, that's for sure. Yeah. So, in that sense, that's been a good thing. The challenge I think is just, getting the kids back on the ice and getting them back in the frame of stuff. You know, a lot of them, you know, are just happy to be back, right? And I think that's important, you know, being off the ice from, you know, my pro guys like Matt Robson to, you know, just even the house league guys. This is probably the first time in their life that they haven't been on the ice for, you know, over 3 months.
Yeah.
So, you know, mentally, physically, it's challenging. I think that's the challenging part for everybody.
For sure, for sure. And I wasn't even kind of thinking about taking our conversation here, but I don't know if Andy Owen is Clint or
it's that's it. That's Andy. That's Clint's dad, actually.
Okay, so
he's my biggest fan, actually.
Hey, Andy brings up a good just comment that I'm glad he brought up, because what you guys did, which I loved, you brought everything onto your goaltending school for a couple of months online.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And just tell me what impact that had, because you guys were really engaging your goalies and players, right? While they were at home.
Yeah, it was actually a real enjoyable time for us. I've never even done one of these calls before. And you know, Bujar, he still has a pencil and paper, right? So, you know, we had to think outside the box. You know, when everything shut down, it was March 16th. We were just about to start our March break camp, and we had to cancel it. So, you know, for about 3 weeks, we just stayed at home, and, you know, we just, you know, took it easy and, you know, just, you know, been safe. But then after that, we were like, okay, you know, we got to get back in there. We got to get back in there, not only for us, but for our kids too.
Yeah.
So we thought, you know, what's the way that we're going to do it? So we basically, Bujar and I decided to do Zoom sessions, and we didn't charge for them. We did it free for a month, maybe a bit more, eh, Boo? And we did one where we did it on synthetic ice with their gear on. And then we did one where you didn't need it. And we were getting, you know, at one time, I think we had 80 kids on it, which was awesome. And it was great just to see their faces and get them working. And then a lot of them after it just thought, you know, it was just great to get some structure in their day. And they almost like planned our stuff around their schedule. What was nice, right? And then the feedback was great. We had, you know, tons of people reaching out, thanking us. A lot of people actually bought synthetic ice from us. So, you know, it's funny because we opened our place, Just Shoot It, in January, and Hockey Shots, they're a great company to work with. And they said, and I was getting tons of people asking me for ice. So I talked to them, and they're like, you know what, Dave, we're going to help you out. We'll be able to, you know, help you and sell some of this ice. And we made a road trip to Ottawa selling ice. We went to Cornwall. We sold quite a bit of ice, and the kids, it kept them active for that time. And that's something that ice, you know, they can not just have it now, but they're going to have it their whole lives. It lasts for 20 years. So it's a great work piece to do at home.
Yeah.
So it's definitely.
And it seems like that has changed a lot. Like and I saw you a couple of things. One is your Bujar, like just being entrepreneurs, like it's just being creative. Like you guys have done it before COVID-19, and I think the people can attest to that who are on with us. Mm-hmm. And outside of just for your company, that one is you try to do as much as you can for the kids, and if you can do it in a creative way, I think you've done that, including the synthetic ice, which looks, from your post, unbelievable. Like it looks so different than 10 years. It's so different. It's
night and day change. I think it definitely is a great tool that the kids can use now. It never replaced the real ice, but it's come so long since when I had the ice 20 years ago. Like the kids now can actually slide on it. You can drive it. It's just a great training tool. And, you know, who knows how long until we really get back to things. And, you know, it might be something that you could do. And as we talked on my VR stuff, it's a perfect complement for that as well too. So
yeah, buddy, I think that's a huge word here, is just it's a complement to the on ice. So the on ice instruction, if you can get it 1-to-1, is the best. But if you can complement the work that you do face to face with your skills coach, whatever the sport is, I think that's just that edge that you get. But in regards to being off, it's a structure. Like you know, you have a goaltending session with you or Bujar, whatever the time is, and then you have maybe 80 other people doing it, and you can probably tell the motivation went up, the structure based on that probably influenced the routines day to day. So it sounds like that was a really good initiative.
Yeah, it was enjoyable for all of us, even us too, right? Just you know, to see the kids, to have a routine. Like we really did miss training these kids. We trained them all year round. Some kids we see 4 times a week. So it was, not seeing someone for, a full month is, it's a lot, right? And not talking to them even longer, right? So
and
awesome.
and I've known some of your kids over the years, and the way that you guys interact with them, and now with social media, you can tell that's you guys are like their biggest supporters. Like that's what I feel from being on the outside, that you're always supporting them, but then also it sounds like it becomes like your family, right? And you care about them, and then they care about, you can tell, in regard to that interaction together.
For sure. Well, goaltending is a lot about relationships. And I think that's what Boo and I do the best. We have a relationship with the kids, with the parents, and it just grows over time. There's a lot of kids that, again, going back to Matt Robson, he's been with us since he's 8 years old. And, now it's almost like a friend. We talk all the time. And, we talk goaltending, but we talk about everything. And I think that's part about being a goalie, right? And being a coach for these guys and a mentor is being their friend as well, too, right? So
And Matt is, and just correct me, so he's a Minnesota Wild farm team?
Yeah, he's with Iowa. He's with Minnesota Wild. And, he's been with us since he's 8 years old. So it was nice that he's 23, born in 96. So it's been a long time with him. And it's just nice to see a guy that went through our program all the way and then make it, through to the NHL and so forth, right? So,
hey, can I ask you, and if Boo wants to jump in on this too, and then everyone that's just listening to us, if you guys have questions, throw them out there. Like we're gonna go
for sure.
Questions, but if people come up, we'll get to your questions as well. But question for you, and if Boo wants to jump in, what, as the player gets older, that goalie or that skater, what becomes the most important, the mental skills piece? We'll focus on that probably for the rest of our time. What are the mental skills that you think separate those individuals as they progress?
Yeah, for sure. Well, I think at the end of the day, like goaltending, it's changed a lot over the time that we used to work together, right, Pops? Like, 20 years ago until now, the game has changed. The guys are faster, they're bigger, equipment's changed. There's coaching now, there's internet, there's all these things that we didn't have. But what never, I think, has changed is the mental skills of it. And the mental skills, I think, is what separates one goalie to the other. So I think it's, it's so important, like, from concentration to commitment, consistency, coachability, confidence, that's all mental skills. Yeah. And, you got to have a good mental makeup if you want to make it, to the next level, or anything in life though, right? That's what it comes down. Not just goaltending or hockey. It's life in general. Yeah. So I think mental skills are a huge part of the, the pie. I know everyone always says it's 90% mental, 10% physical. I kind of disagree with that a little bit now. I think mental part is a huge, huge part of it. I believe they got to, be a great athlete now. Then they got to have great technical skills. They got to have great tactical skills, and then they have to have the mental skills.
I love
those four.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because it is one piece, and sometimes it's bigger, and sometimes it's smaller. Right?
Exactly.
But it is one, right? So when you bring all those pieces together, I think that's when that athlete feels at their very best. And it could be when we played and today. Like when you bring all the pieces together, that's when you're at your very best.
Yeah.
But here's where I want to take what you said and then relate it back to some of the other Instagram Live conversations. So we've had other athletes, other coaches in different sports, strength and conditioning coaches. But here's all the coaches, what they have in common with what you just said is coachability. Every week, there's been a coach. It doesn't matter what the sport is. When I ask them that question about mental skills, coachability comes up. So here's a question for you. So how do you know, or how do you feel that an athlete is coachable? Like from your experience, if you were to go look at that kid and go, he's coachable, how would you explain that?
Yeah, well, coachability, it's a lot of things, right? The first thing I think is just open to criticism, open to positive reinforcement. being able to tell them something, like the way I teach in Bujar, we're big believers in being positive with them. We like to put a positive spin on everything. Even with COVID, we try to make it positive for them. And we feel that when you're in a positive environment, you're going to have that much better results. So Boo and I really try to be, and I've learned that from you too, and Jay as well. I think that's one thing that we all do really well is we don't harp on the negatives. We really work on the positives. And when they do that, then they believe in you more. And then that's when I find they're more coachable. And you know, being a coachable kid is just someone who's, you know, believes in what we're saying. And when we know that they're on our side, then they'll do anything for us and we'll do anything for them. And, you know, that's how, you know, that's coachability, right? So, and they enjoy being here. They enjoy, you know, they enjoy making mistakes and getting corrected. And a kid who, you know, comes here that doesn't want to be coached, that doesn't want to listen to what we're saying, like we really don't want to train those kids. We want kids that want to be here. And pretty much I'd say 90% of the kids we train want to be here and get better and improve. And, you know, that's what we want to do, right? Work with those. And Bujar's got something out here too, Peter.
All right. Well, just being a father of 3 hockey players, right? We'll give you a little bit of that side of the perspective. I just think commitment is really important, right? And all 3 of my kids are different. You know, I got an older kid that's really committed, and then my youngest, my middle, is you know, he works hard, but they all have their different values towards the game, kind of thing, right? So, but I always tell my kids, how committed do you want? Like, do you want this or do you not want it, kind of thing, right? And preparation. That's why I think your program is amazing for kids growing up, especially at the younger ages, right? Because mentally they need that. They need to be mentally focused. It's not, you can bring them to the rink and then all of a sudden, okay, they get on the ice. Okay, I'll do the drills and all this, right? But it's how you prepare yourself mentally before you get to the rink also, right?
Nice.
And how you prepare yourself after the rink too, right?
For sure.
It's funny, we have this talk. So I was with one of the top coaches in the GTHL last night out for dinner, and he said to my son, he goes, well, how do you think you did? And he said, well, I don't know. And he said to him, well, when you're out there, you got to think about mentally, like, how are you doing? Are you getting better or are you not getting better?
Right.
So at a young age, they just sit there and they say, well, I don't know, right? Well, are you thinking about getting better or are you just kind of going through the motions kind of thing, right?
And you know what you're saying, Boo? That's really good, that before and after. You got to figure that out before to get ready for the session. And then after, you got to do it too to get ready for the next session. Because when you're on with, if someone's on with you as their instructor, their coach, you want them dialed into what you're going to teach them, right? Because you see that potential in that kid that you want to build on that every single time. And if you're not ready and don't know what you're learning or good at, it is that time that's, not to say it's wasted, but it's not as productive as
absolutely
coaching
yourself. So I noticed that like I said, I'll go back to my kids again, but I noticed that it's not just when you get to the rink, it's before and after, which is sometimes more important, to be honest with you. Right? It's just how you prepare yourself. And there's certain kids that prepare themselves a little better than other kids, right? They're just maybe mentally stronger or whatever, but with your program, obviously, those are the things that help them. Right?
But you know what you're saying, though? But you're saying, like, you can learn these things, right? And you don't have to, like, do it. And again, we've had conversations, and it kind of feel old, always giving these explanations about when we play kind of thing. But I think that's why we coach, right? So that person who comes to the rink can just do it a little bit differently, right? Shorten the time to learn a skill. Shorten the time to be more consistent. And that's why we're doing this. The 3 of us are doing this because we want that athlete to just gain that skill, to just get it back a little bit quicker than maybe we did, right? Overall, right? So
that's right. Absolutely.
And there's someone, Boo, I don't know if you see it. Someone says, who's better, Boo, me or you? I'm going with you, but I don't know who this is. But
you're right. I'd like to know what Frankie's referring to, because I'm definitely better at things than you, and there's things that you're better than me and Frankie. So
Frank's a good friend of ours who also played
Yeah, he was
the
my
OHL, and
he was my goalie partner back in the day. He was actually drafted by Pittsburgh Penguins.
No way.
And now we train his son actually. So
All right.
it's
So Frankie's good. Okay.
yeah,
Frankie's
good. He's all right.
I don't know.
Yeah,
but these are great. Keep them coming,
Yeah.
everyone, because this
Yeah,
is
for
a
sure.
conversation. We want
Look,
whoever's
right now-
going to listen to this.
Pop, Tyler Thorpe. You remember his dad, Thorpe, doing hockey schools with him?
Yes.
Yeah, so he's on right now. He's one of the goalies we train.
Oh, another
Baby
good, like
Thorpe.
back in the day. Good old.
Yeah. It's
Great
good to hang
times
out with all
back in
these
the
old
day.
goalie guys, right? So,
Hey, can I just add, like, if you were to put, so we got so far coachability, awesome, commitment, like that's across the board the last few weeks.
yeah.
Give me one or two more.
Confidence, I think, is huge, right? Confidence, and to me, commitment, attitude, I think, is another good one too, right? So, those are all there's a lot of mental skills, that's for sure. And like you said before, Pops, like sometimes you need more than others. Sometimes, but you need them all, right? So if you want to be successful.
Yeah. Can I touch on it? And I have you guys both here, is that the coach can help you in these, but the athlete also has to kind of understand that maybe I need to work on it. So you mentioned, Davey, confidence.
Mm-hmm.
And Boo, you're nodding too. Like, so you got to know when your confidence is not as good. And it's helpful to have a coach too that can go like, hey, let's talk about this, to be able to raise it, because that's a learned skill, right? You got to work on kind of gaining that confidence and then keeping it at a certain level, right?
Mm-hmm.
How do you guys, just if there was something that you guys say to them, the athletes, or seeing them, just to build that? Is there anything that on the ice or off the ice you guys do?
Yeah, well, I think just on the ice, again, it's going back to being positive with them and giving them a positive spin. Like if we're doing drills with them and we're working our glove, Boo and I don't need to rip 10 past our glove, right? We can make them feel confident, get the technique down first, then we could add different things to it. So, we're kind of almost playing with their confidence and building their confidence, right? And that's the reason why you train and you get better, through repetition. And and keeping things positive with these kids. So
and it's a balance. You want to push, but again, you don't push that much further, because that's when the confidence. If you don't take care of it, that's where that difference comes in, right?
And I think as a goalie too, it's a little bit maybe different in other sports. Like with goaltending, it's really about confidence, right? So we all know, because all three of us were goalies, and in yourself when your mind was negative and you weren't feeling confident, you didn't play well. But when you played well, you didn't think, you were confident. You were confident on the ice, off the ice. And that's why you did, so well, right?
But here's the thing that I'll only speak for myself, boys, on this one, would be when things didn't go well, that's when I didn't have a plan. I'll be honest. And I'm pretty sure I said this to you when I've seen you face to face along with you. But when things didn't go well, and especially if I didn't have a coach who was the most understanding, like an old school coach, that's when things unraveled for me. And I wish I had something to kind of prop me back up.
That's right.
When the times weren't as good. That's
for sure.
I'll comment on that too. So some goalies will come and say, well, I keep getting scored on my glove side, right? Okay, and then we can talk about the mental side. Well, you can vision yourself making certain glove saves and then work on it maybe with a tennis ball, so they have some type of routine to help your glove side, kind of thing, right? So if you're struggling in certain areas, well, we'll give them a certain program or routine to work on every day to improve in that situation, kind of thing, right?
But here's the thing, as you guys talk about, like, one is you hope the kid, or with your help, acknowledges that, hey, maybe I do need to work on my glove. Right. And then here's these guys who trust me with certain things they're giving me and reinforcement to make it that much better. Right. And it feels like it is work, right? It's not that quick fix, right? It is work, but you have to be able to say, here's something I can work on. Here's something that I can do to work on that. And then I have to understand that I'm getting better.
For sure.
Hey, I want to get to the headset piece in the hockey sense, but Andy's got one. Who was your favorite goalie in the NHL? Who is your favorite goalie now in the NHL, and then years ago?
I would say years ago, Cujo. I love Cujo. And now I would say Carter Hart, Carey Price. They're the two that I think are the top two goalies right now. Boo? Boo was one of my favorites too, but
He was one of my favorites.
yeah.
Had his
He
hockey
was
card back in the day.
goalie of the year in 1998. If anyone doesn't know, in the OHL.
That's a long time ago.
And he did sign 2 NHL contracts. So
I like a little bit of the athletic side. So Vasilevsky is a goalie I like just because of his skating ability and the way he can move around the net. I'm a big fan of goalies that can move around the net, especially ones that have size. So if you have a combination of size and being able to move on your feet like that, I think you're going to stop a lot of pucks.
Yeah. Hey, and it just and all these questions are awesome. They get me with another question on the way. So here's one more from me. I interviewed on Instagram a person that's helping us over this headset. His name is Colin Stevens. So he won a national championship with Union College, and then signed with Florida, then ended up with Pittsburgh's farm team. And then what I found was really interesting with him is that for the first 2 years at Union, he didn't start. Mm-hmm. Which I went, how do you, I had a hard time, the backup role. Mm-hmm. You're not always playing when you're a goalie. Yeah. Right? And I thought he did it. He sounded really good when he mentioned what he did. Any thoughts for a person who is a goalie who's not starting, or that person who's waiting as a first year, maybe student athlete?
Yeah, that's why you're the best, Bob. I could talk to you all day, buddy. Being a goalie, and there's, it's a real tricky position. There's only 2 spots. And, when you're the starter, you're playing, you're confident, you're in there and stuff. And when you're the backup, that's when I think you have to be even mentally stronger. Yeah. And you really, you got to push that starter. You got to support that starter. Just because you're the backup goalie, you're still part of the team. And, if it's called upon for you to go in net, you got to be ready. So your preparation, your commitment, all the stuff that we talked about, it's almost like you need to be doing that even more. And it's not easy, especially as a young kid, because, a lot of goalies, even in the GTHL, I see kids that are, 10 years old and they're backups. And, as a 10-year-old, you're not playing, which is, it's crazy, right? In that sense, but it's the backup role is a huge part of the game. And that's a huge part that, it's not an easy part. That's for sure.
Right.
I totally agree exactly what Dave was saying. So I'll give you a real quick story on me. I was a AA goalie for 5 years, and I couldn't make a AAA team. Made a AAA team in minor midget. Didn't get drafted to the OHL. Got drafted a year late to the Ontario Hockey League in the 6th round. And 3 years later, I was Ontario Hockey League's top goaltender. So my road was a little bit tougher, and just to let kids know that if you're mentally tough and you stick with it, there's always time. Certain kids have their time at certain times, right?
I love that, buddy. And I didn't know that. I knew you played AA, but not all the way up until that
minor midget.
Yeah. I thought it was maybe a year or 2 before, maybe a Hannah.
Yeah.
So, and you hear that, and you guys probably, maybe I'm a smaller goalie, I'm not technically sound yet.
Right.
It's if you can, again, it's hard, but to have that patience and that work and the commitment piece, it sounds like it's so easy, but those who do it, and you guys are a testament to it, it's work. You have to work on it. It's not given to you. There are some people who are maybe a little bit more physically gifted at a certain age, but once it comes to it, they're all physically gifted at the highest level.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So it's almost like those mental skills, Davey, that we were talking about earlier. Who knows what number it is, but at certain times it becomes even more important.
More, 100%. Yeah.
You could probably talk about just your pro days of how many games you play.
Yeah. Well, we're constantly, every day's practice, and then you're on the road a lot. So, it is tough, and that's the tough part, is staying mentally tough too as well, right? You play, I think it was 74 games, a season, which is a lot, right? Yeah. And especially if you're a goaltender that played a lot of games, you had to stay mentally tough, because as you get tired, your head starts to get a little bit tired too, and it's tough to stay with it. But if you can hold that, obviously you can be successful.
Yeah, and this is what this one guy I mentioned earlier to you guys is Colin Stevens, who is now done, but he is recently that he retired. But he said that even as a starter, he had a hard time because it was back to back. Like he played 3 games, and what was interesting that he said, he goes, in college we had someone to work with us on the mental skills, but when he went pro, there was no one. So only the NHL guys had someone, and then they may come down and help out. He goes, I needed it more after college.
That's right.
In regards to the minor leagues, because he said that the actual amount of playing, he goes, it became wearing on him. And there were times where he could have used maybe someone or something to help him out, he said.
Well, that's right, because at the pro level, when I was signed with Carolina and Philly there, we had our goalie coach maybe 5 times through the whole year.
Wow.
Right? So maybe once a month.
Yes.
Right? So at the minor league level, you don't really have the support there, right?
Yeah.
That you need. You're exactly right.
For sure. It was, I think that this is a nice segue into, let's get into hockey sense quickly, and then headset, because there's a nice segue into, it's an additional thing that an athlete can do to get better. So, and again, whoever wants to talk to us, but tell us a little bit more about hockey sense that you guys
So Sense Arena, I've been part of them now for I'd say going on a year now, and I was the first in Toronto to have it in here, first in Canada actually, and it was for players. And it's a great, virtual reality, cognitive skills. There's nothing that trains your brain with VR. I tried it. I was intrigued with it, and I thought, this would be, a great tool for my goalie school. And then, as it was going, my mind is always with a goalie first mindset. And I thought, wow, there could be so much we could do with this with goaltending stuff. And right now it's going to be launched within the next couple of weeks. They're doing a goalie sense. So it's going to be now where you can wear the glasses, you can get ready before. So I think, things are changing, even being at the rink and can't have so many guys. It could be a new way of training. And, over the last 2 weeks, I've had at least 10 goalie coaches that have reached out to me and asked me about it. And I think it's the next evolution of goaltending. A lot of guys who had the synthetic ice, now they can use this, and you can train at home and you can try different skills. I know on the player part of it, there's over 100 drills. And with the goalies, they're already up to 40 drills. So this is something that you can do before you get on the ice. You can do a practicing at home. You might even bring it with you on the ice instead of throwing the tennis balls. You're throwing stuff. And the great thing about this is it tracks everything. It tracks you, and it compares you to everyone else in the world. So we're really pumped about it. We're really, adding this to our program. And, now, again, we just don't want to train them, like you said, Pops, on the ice, because on the ice is just, it's only an hour where you're doing this. There's 23 more hours in the day. And what are you doing to get better? So from, Sense Arena to, headset, those are the things that we believe in. And those are the things that we think that will take the kids to the next level.
And for the headset piece, it's been within the Crease high performance groups with goalies. I know you guys have been real supportive of Jay and I with headset, and that's kind of where we came to kind of working together, at least on the mental skills part, was like they can use headset at any time.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
and that's an important piece to work on your confidence, your resilience, kind of those additional mental skills.
For sure. Well, headset, like how long, Pops, have you been at it now with headset?
You know what? From probably the idea to now, we got to be going on 5 to 6 years. From idea to where it is now, like we probably have been from beta testing it to now selling it, probably 2.5 years of the 5.
For sure. And I'm good friends with you and G, and so I've been with this from day one. And I think this even started back in the Rick Hines days, because we were, talking about it and talking about there's a lack of stuff for goalies with mental skills. And, going to see a sports psychologist, it's expensive, right? And some people, they don't have the dough for that. And And your platform is something that, you know, it's very, you know, economical for them, and it's something that they can do daily. It's something that, you know, I like our goalies use it at our HP program. So we have an HP program where we have goalies that train with us and go to school in the afternoon. And, you know, the first thing I said to them is we need to make this a priority, and we need to do that. So my kids this year, you know, they love doing it. They love being on there. They love doing their wows. They loved, and it was a great, you know, I thought it was a great compliment to what we do. And, you know, you've come to the school, you've talked to my guys several times, and, you know, I know because they would tell me, you know, we have a kid, Alessandro, he would be doing it every time. He's like, Dave, I made that part of my, you know, my routine before a game. I loved looking at the videos. So, you know, I think your platform, buddy, is amazing. And that's why I want it with our goalies. And I think it's, you know, it's something that not just goaltenders, because players can do it as well too. Soccer players, baseball players. It's not just for goalies, right?
No,
it's for everybody. But sure. It really is. But for goalies, I think it's definitely, I think too, because you and Jay were goalies. So you guys get that part of it too. Yeah. So I think, you know, as a goalie part of it, I'm like, you know, if you're a goaltender, you should be on headset. You really should, right? So
yeah. And I'm sure athletes and their parents and maybe these agents or advisors come to you guys and they see this potential, but you got to have all those pieces of the pie, right? And the goalies that you guys mentioned, and Davey, I don't know, it was Davey, it was you, it was Curtis Joseph, like, and I'm sure all the ones and yourself, the best worked harder than anyone else. Like, I think that's the one, and that we maybe didn't touch on was you got to work hard, and it's on the ice and it's off the ice. If you want to reach your potential, you got to do everything possible.
Yeah, and
to be your best.
Exactly. And I think the kids that do that, Pops, they have fun with it. And I think that's a big key, right? You got to have fun. But like my kids that have gone to the next level, guys like, you know, Stefano Durante, Robson, LaFontaine, Kevin Kapalka, like we've trained a lot that have gone to the, you know, a higher level. But the one thing is they all came here and they all had fun coming here. And I think that's the key. But they worked their butts off. And, you know, it wasn't us that had to, we guided them, but there was a lot that they had to do on their own. And that's why they're so successful. And that's where they are now, right? Because there's no secret to, you know, you got to work hard, right? To success, right? So,
and boys, you've been doing it for years. I can't believe how many years, but you guys are still going strong, man. And just your creativity with everything. And I know from the kids that I know from the Crease, they love you guys, right? It's caring. Like it does feel like, and I mention it, it sounds cliche at times, but you do, like, they feel like it's your family, extended family.
Dude, the funny thing is I probably spend more time with these kids than my own family, my own girls.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you know, I leave the house early. I come home late at night, and, you know, I don't get to spend as much time with my kids, and they're almost like my kids, right? So they are my kids, right? So which is awesome, right?
I know you guys are busy and returning the play. I just appreciate you guys jumping on. I would love to do it again because it was fun.
Let's do it.
Having you. I'm so happy you were right beside in the dressing room. So this is really kind of, I think as people look through this, they can click this video at any time when they're on our site. And to me, that who knows what someone got from this that they can implement that makes them successful. Right. And I think that's a wonderful thing, boys. So I appreciate it. I know you guys are busy today and just hopping on for this time.
No problem.
Jay, I really appreciate it.
No problem, Pops. We'd love to talk to you anytime, buddy.
Have a good afternoon on the ice.
See you, buddy. Take care, buddy.
All right.
See you, brother.
Bye.